And so that gives you a better indication that the Eagles were never going to offer a first-round draft pick for Christian McCaffery, and we're never going to match the 49ers offer. It wasn't like Philadelphia put in, a really good offer, but the Niners just one-upped them. It was Howie Roseman doing Howie Roseman things. Hey, is CMC available for a third? No? All right, well, at least we made a little phone call. But it does show you that he is interested in bringing in potentially a running back, and then as we'll see here, a pass rusher. What's up, guys? Thomas Mott here. Welcome to the Thomas Mott Show on a Tuesday. The main focus in Eagle Land is the NFL trade deadline and who they could make a trade for, and at least we're getting some rumblings that they are making phone calls. We'll talk about how they called for Christian McCaffery, and that leads us into figuring out what running back they're going to go get. It seems very clear they want a running back, and I just realized I found the perfect running back. It's not Josh Jacobs. It wasn't Christian McCaffery. It's somebody else who played last night. I'll tell you who that is here in just 1 second. Also, Philadelphia seemingly has a solution for the kick return spot, and we'll tell you who that is here in just 1 second as well. First, though, let's just jump into the big news from yesterday, and this was, of course, talked about not only on my show, but on a lot of blog reports, on a lot of tweets, a lot of local radio stations, but the Eagles checked in on Christian McCaffery. Now, why does this matter? Well, it shows you that they are checking in on actual positions that they need help with, and the article here from Bleeding Green Nation mentions Christian McCaffery and the fact they could target a veteran pass rusher. And SI.com's Albert Breer has a really good rundown on what went down in terms of the Christian McCaffery trade and why Philadelphia was out on it, which I think was the right move. Quote, 49ers were the first team to call on Friday, October 14th, when they made their first offer. The Bills checked in later on that day, too. At that point, the Panthers told San Francisco, Buffalo, and their teams that would subsequently call, the first rounder alone might get it done, and that a first rounder and a later pick would get it done. Last Monday, GM Scott Federer pulled McCaffery aside to give him the landscape, tell him that he planned to listen to offers, and also that he'd be comfortable hanging on to him. The talks lasted about 5 minutes. McCaffery told Federer they'd appreciated the heads up. More calls poured in on Tuesday, with some teams just fishing, others offering a third or a fourth rounder to see whether a discount was in the offering. The Broncos and Eagles were among those teams. Both have GMs select to investigate pretty much everything. The day clarified who was really in and who was really out. And so that gives you a better indication that the Eagles were never going to offer a first-round draft pick for Christian McCaffery, and we're never going to match the 49ers offer. It wasn't like Philadelphia put in, a really good offer, but the Niners just one-upped them. It was Howie Roseman doing Howie Roseman things. Hey, is CMC available for a third? No? All right, well, at least we made a little phone call. But it does show you that he is interested in bringing in potentially a running back, and then as we'll see here, a pass rusher. So here's another mention in terms of where Philadelphia is looking. Quote, a Patriot win could accelerate the Bears' approach ahead of the trade deadline, and in that regard, I've got my eyes on 32-year-old pass rusher Robert Quinn. I think teams such as the Eagles, Titans, Ravens, and Rams probably will too, and we talked about Robert Quinn in the past here as being an option. Of course, the Patriots did not win last night, and so do the 3-4 Bears really have a reason to hold on to Robert Quinn? He played well, but that's a whole different story. And so this brings us into my main topic of the show for here on a Tuesday. If it is running back, right? Because we know the pass rushers. It's Burns, it's Bradley Chubb, it's Robert Quinn. Those are your three options right now at pass rusher. And Philadelphia's been tied to two of the three. They haven't officially been tied to Bradley Chubb yet, but it's the idea that they could trade Chubb, and Philadelphia wants a pass rusher that unites them, as we talked about on the show yesterday. And so we know that one of these three pass rushers is most likely the target. Now, will they get one? Who knows? But what we don't know is what other running backs are out there and what other running backs make sense. And I think this article by Philly Voice really puts things in a perspective in terms of who would make sense as a running back trade for the Philadelphia Eagles. It's another Bear, and it's David Montgomery. Now, we talked about Josh Jacobs in the past. There's been mention of Kareem Hunt, but as you currently look at the landscape, I don't think that Kareem Hunt is going to be traded, and I think Josh Jacobs and the Raiders are very happy with Josh Jacobs as is. He's been their best offensive player so far this year. I mean, 3 touchdowns this past Sunday, and so while I would love Josh Jacobs more than anybody else, I don't see it happening. And so you've got to go to a football team that isn't going anywhere. And if the Bears would have lost last night, the Today Show would have made a lot more sense, but because they did win, it's a little bit cloudier. But I would love the idea of David Montgomery, and Philly Voice has a really good reasoning for it. Quote, Montgomery's appeal to the Eagles should be pretty straightforward. He's a tough between-the-tackles runner in the same mold of Jordan Howard, but with more speed and more pass-catching ability and less mileage. His stats are not particularly impressive, which is fine, but you see here, we're looking at 8 touchdowns in 2020, 7 in 2021. He's still right around 1,000-yard back whenever healthy, and he's working his way towards that right now at 308, maybe a little bit under 1,000 yards. But even though the stats are not necessarily crazy, you got to remember, as Philly Voice says here, It should be noted that he was played behind a horrid Bears offensive line since he came to the league. There's little doubt that he would find more success behind the Eagles' stellar run blocking line. Montgomery gave the Eagles a power complement to Miles Sanders, who can help close games in the fourth quarter. His trade out of Chicago would also free up more carries for second-year up-and-coming Khalil Herbert. A reasonable cost would be something in the ballpark of a fifth-round pick for a player in the final round of his rookie contract. So this is all very important to note, right? Montgomery would be way better behind the Eagle offensive line. The Bears, you saw it last night, were running Khalil Herbert a bunch. I mean, he had a rushing touchdown, and if you're the Chicago Bears at this point, do you really believe you're going to do anything? I know they're like 2 games out of first place in the NFC North, but do you really believe that offense is going to go anywhere? And for the price, it makes perfect sense for the Philadelphia Eagles. James Robinson was traded from the Jaguars to the Jets yesterday after Breece Hall went down with a torn ACL, and it was a 6th-round draft pick that could turn into a 5th-round draft pick. Why not do the same thing for a David Montgomery? I think he would make an absolute perfect pairing alongside Miles Sanders to where you don't diminish Miles Sanders' role as that speed, elusive back out of the backfield, your screen game guy, but then you bring in that number 2 punch in terms of your LeGarrette Blount, although he's smaller than LeGarrette Blount, but your Jordan Howard type running back who is going to be a pounder, a goal line guy, a 3rd down and 1 guy, and give you a really great alternate punch to what Miles Sanders is able to do. I think this makes a ton of sense, and we talk about a ton of trade people on the Thomas Mott Show, a ton of trade people in the national media. He would be one to keep an eye on as we get closer to November 1st. I think Chicago losing would have helped a lot. They played Dallas on Sunday. Maybe a big loss to Dallas could kind of fully submit them as sellers because you get to 5 losses on the year and you're pretty much eliminated from the playoffs, although it's a bad year overall in the NFL, so there's no guarantee, but I think it does make some sense for the Philadelphia Eagles to sniff around David Montgomery. He would be a very good pairing with Miles Sanders. Okay, quickly. I just hit 5K subs here on the Thomas Mott Show, and I got my own PointsBet affiliate link, which you guys know I've talked about it here over the past week. I'm deciding to go ahead and up the ante here for anyone who goes ahead and uses my PointsBet affiliate link. I'm going to send one of you an A.J. Brown official Philadelphia Eagles jersey. I mean, literally, that's what I'm going to go ahead and do. All you got to do, it's very simple, right? You have to be one of the first 25 people to sign up using my PointsBet link, which is down below in the description box, and place a bet. You got to sign up and place a bet. Then just take a screenshot of your sign-up email, which is very simple, or forward me the sign-up email, but screenshot of the sign-up email and screenshot proving you placed a bet using your bet slip. It'll pop up there on PointsBet. Email it to me at thomasmottshow@gmail.com for proof. And then, of course, you have a chance to go ahead and be one of the people, or the one person I select to send an A.J. Brown jersey, of course, in your size. The only catch is you must be over 21 and in a legal sports betting state. So if you're not in a legal sports betting state, I'm sorry, just how the sports betting landscape works right now. All the details will be down below in the description box, but it's very, very simple. Just use my affiliate link down below right now. Sign up. Send me a screenshot of the sign-up email confirming that you did it. Of course, we go ahead and place a bet. Whatever the bet is, Philadelphia Phillies in World Series, maybe? I don't know. Whatever you want to do, screenshot of the bet. Email it to me. You'll see the email down below for proof. And this is going to run for about 2 or 3 weeks. We'll do 3 weeks here, or until we get to 25 people who have signed up. And so one of you will be selected, and you will be sent a brand new A.J. Brown Philadelphia Eagles jersey. So go ahead and get down below to the description box. Okay, quick news here in terms of the punt return situation. As you see via the Bleeding Green Nation article, the Eagles are bringing back a familiar face of the practice squad, and guess who? It is Greg Ward. Now, I forgot about this, and Bleeding Green Nation is right. In case you forgot, Ward missed most of training camp due to an injury. Team placed him on injured reserve during roster cuts that were brought down to 53. Ward was then waived from IR. NFL rules dictate a team cannot re-sign a player waived from IR until a minimum of 6 weeks have passed. The Eagles seemingly hope to get Ward back after the waiting period. So he's going to give you depth at the wide receiver spot, mainly in the slot, but the Eagles don't really need that, in my opinion. What he's really going to be is your primary punt returner. I think he's going to come back and compete with Covey to potentially go ahead and return punts. He was never that explosive, but he seems more explosive than Britton Covey, and I like Britton. I thought he would be a really, really good kick returner because he was great with the Utes up at Utah, but just has not really given you any sort of spark right now with the Philadelphia Eagles, and a lot of people have said in my comment section, the one big error right now, the one big issue with the Eagles is that they don't have any sort of special kick return or special team situation, which is not a deal breaker. You don't have to have Devin Hester back there to be successful, as you've seen, but maybe this gives some, friendly competition right now in terms of the punt return spot, and it's good to see Greg Ward back, who is one of the OGs of those Boston Scott, Greg Ward, Travis Fulgham, these undrafted guys who made an impact a couple of years ago who've kind of faded a little bit, especially Boston Scott, barely getting used right now, but Ward comes back, and that is good news for for everybody in Philadelphia Eagle land. Okay, let's move over to our National League story of the day. We're going to finish with NFL power rankings. We always do it on a Tuesday. Eagles didn't play this week. Where do they place them? But I do want to quickly mention the story that comes via ESPN here. The Colts are benching Matt Ryan and will start Sam Ehlinger the rest of the way. Now, Matt Ryan did sustain a grade 2 shoulder separation in the loss to the Tennessee Titans on Sunday, and so he was going to miss a significant amount of time, but at least it wasn't months. It would be essentially be weeks. And so now Frank Reich is basically saying that they're going to go with the former Texas quarterback Sam Ehlinger to be the starter the rest of the way. It's interesting that this happens now with the injury. It's like, did you need to go ahead and do it after the injury? Why not do it before the injury? Maybe it gives them a better excuse. I don't know. But it is worth noting that Sam Ehlinger at least gives them a little bit of a running spark. He's not a very fast runner. It's not Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, but he at least is going to give them more than what Matt Ryan is able to do. And I like Matt Ryan. I live in Atlanta. I covered the Atlanta Falcons for a couple of years. I've met Matt Ryan multiple times. Super nice guy. I met his wife. I met his kids. He's a great, great guy. But the age gets there, and if you're behind an offensive line that can't protect you, which was the case in Atlanta and seemingly is the case with the Indianapolis Colts right now, he's very much, a deer in headlights. He's a statue. It's not his fault. He's just, got to that point in his career where he's not going to be able to be as mobile as you would like. The Colts very clearly see that their division is winnable, but they need help at the quarterback spot because they're not getting enough done offensively. Jonathan Taylor has not been healthy. He's not been the running back most fantasy owners drafted him to be, and so Ehlinger will get the start, and we'll see how long it lasts. You got to remember, that team technically does have Nick Foles if they wanted Nick Foles to be thrown in there, but it'll be Ehlinger, which is fine. We'll see if he does anything. He had a lot of success with the Texas Longhorns, but will he have success in Indianapolis? That remains to be seen. But it's a bummer for Matt Ryan. You feel bad for Matt Ryan, but at the same time, it's a business decision. It's a business league. What have you done for me now? And right now, Matt Ryan has not done a lot. Okay, quickly here, let's go to our NFL.com power rankings to round out today's show. Buffalo will be firmly ahead at number 1. That is absolutely fine. I know most people would believe that the Buffalo roster is better than the Philly roster. It's not that much better. I will just say that. I don't think it's, leagues better than the Eagle roster, but sure, if you want to say it's better, that's fine. But it's not much better than Philadelphia, who stays here at number 2. The good news is that, of course, they don't get moved around too much during the bye week. I think that's great news for Philadelphia. I think the bye week is a little bit early. You like the bye week to come more towards week 8, week 9, week 10. But I think a week 6 bye at least gives the offensive line time to heal, as Kelsey's been dealing with an ankle injury. Lane Johnson had a concussion 2 weeks ago against Dallas. As I say, Malu had an ankle injury. Landon Dickerson had an ankle injury. Jordan Mailata has a shoulder problem. Like, this at least gives them a chance to get healthy. So hopefully during this next stretch of games where you play some good teams, you're going to play a good Pittsburgh defense, not a good offense. You're going to play the Green Bay Packers, who at least have Aaron Rodgers. You're going to play the Tennessee Titans. Like, the Giants are coming up here. This comes at a good time. They stay at number 2. Kansas City has to be number 3, basically due to the fact that they do have 2 losses on the year, right? And I know that one was the Colts and one was the Bills, but you can't put a 2-loss Colts team ahead of the Philadelphia Eagles. What I don't understand is Dallas sitting at number 4. And I get the fact that Dak Prescott is back and their defense is really good, but Dak looked nothing special after his 5 weeks off with the thumb injury, and that offense didn't move the football at all until late in the fourth quarter. It was 10-6, and so the Cowboy love ahead of a team like Cincinnati, ahead of a team like the Giants, who are 6-1, to me makes no sense. Good to see Minnesota back in the top 7. They have played very, very well. They had a bye week this week. That's why you didn't see them, but their offense is really good. Baltimore, to me, their defense is not giving me any sort of top 10 vibes there, and their offense has been very so far. Tennessee squeaks in. They were started 0-2. They're now 4-0 over the last 4 games. Derrick Henry, that's what you want to do, and then playing good defense. And then the Jets there at number 10. They're 5 wins, right? When you get to 5 wins in the first 7 games, you got to at least give credit where credit is due. The Jets round out the top 10. And then you see it's a bunch of mediocre football teams. 3-3 LA, 3-4 San Francisco, the 2-4 Raiders, the 4-3 Dolphins, the 4-3 Seattle Seahawks. Like, it's crazy to me how bad the National Football League is this year, but there is one team that stands atop the rest, and that is the one remaining undefeated team, the Philadelphia Eagles. Okay, announcement for tomorrow's show. Dave Spadaro, yes, the Eagles reporter, as I call him, the Eagles insider, is going to be joining me for an interview. Very excited to talk to Spud there. I have never talked to him. I've never interviewed Dave Spadaro in all the years I've been covering the Philadelphia Eagles. So excited to go ahead, get his thoughts on the trade deadline, his thoughts on coming out after the bye week, and maybe some Jalen Hurts questions in terms of what he's seen inside the building, because there's one reporter above them all who's actually in the building, who actually works for the team, and that is Dave Spadaro. He comes on the show tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. All the time we have for on this edition of the Thomas Mott Show. Plenty more coming up, so be sure to like the video because YouTube loves that, and subscribe. You guys know that, and we'll see you guys in the next one. I'm Thomas Mott. This has been the Thomas Mott Show.